That's illegal. You don't need to regulate more here. You just need to apply the law. So, the first thing is like, let's not like try to push for somewhat of a regulation just because it sounds nice to say that.
I don't think you know how bad the law sucks, though. Normal
No, I
banks
know,
are
I know, I
fractionally
know. But
reserved and
the
need
first thing is
insurance
don't
to
add
make
on
up for the
top,
suck.
Like the
I'm just
minimum you
saying
can
that,
do is not adding on top of the regulation that
yeah,
there is. I
Yeah,
mean, I
but there
tell you
are,
what,
Richard,
in
there are
Switzerland, there's a lot of.
no, but
there are
USDC
custody,
insurance only covers you up to 300 grand.
No, but you're confusing banking with custody and trust laws. The custody and trust laws would completely prevent you from even rehypothecating. So all these laws do
I
exist. Securities laws
like that.
exist.
I like
Exactly.
that, and I would agree with you if you called them trust and custody laws and not banking laws. My point is that those laws that you like would protect users, and I probably would support those for crypto exchanges. I think those would be good laws. Stop commingling funds,
But
treat the
here's the
people's
thing:
stuff as their actual stuff.
they already exist. It's just exchanges
But
aren't
look,
following the
the
laws.
license
No, but they're not
might
even
have.
they're not even registered in the United States. Who gives a shit what the United States law is? They're not even registered in
Exactly.
the United States.
Exactly. There's
Yeah, but
always going to
those
be
custody laws
regulatory arbitrage.
exist outside the United States, and the United States has the IMF and FATF that enforces all regulations on all other regulators. So these things already exist. It's just
No, but no one will
what's happening.
register where they exist. So the FTX was in the Bahamas.
They exist
Exactly. Like,
everywhere. Like
guys,
BitBEX is in Seychelles.
ultimately,
Where's Binance? Lol. Nowhere.
ultimately,
That's not true.
there's always going to
Where's
be
Binance? I want to serve them
Go ahead.
something. Where are they?
So
Give me their
go
address.
ahead, Gabriel. Go ahead, Gabriel.
I was saying that the Binance has multiple corporate registrations around the world. Bahrain.
Well, that's funny because we filed a lawsuit against them for us being gate capped at number 201 in CoinMarketCap for 3 fucking years now. No matter what our market cap really is, we're always number 201. Lol. That sounds like a lie and fraudulent to me. And we have a lawsuit against them.
If you look at their terms and conditions, you won't find an address. They do have certain segregated parts, but it is incredibly hard to decipher.
Well, I'll give you a concrete example.
And it's even more dangerous when you portray yourself as regulated in one area and then you don't disclose what area that is. And I think like Kim was calling CZ up on some of those things with BUSD and FDIC disclosures and various other things. I think so, Richard. I think what we're saying is that you're giving the argument for what I think. There is going to be onboarding.
There are good laws, and I think custody and trust laws are the best of the bunch as far as helping exchanges stop stealing customers' money.
Yeah. So those regulations all exist, and there's centralized companies. So when the Fed's coming out and saying they need to have a similar standard, they're basically just saying when you're selling securities, comply with securities laws. When you're doing custody and trust, comply with custody and trust laws. If you're doing banking, then comply with banking laws. And if you're doing lending, comply with lending laws. All these laws exist because everything that just happened right now happened in the 1930s. So we've seen everything before, but no one's complying with them. But then there's another part to it, which is very true what Richard is saying, that we need who regulates the regulator, and the answer to that is you have your centralized regulations, which are all needed in an environment where humans can do things off chain. But you also need the check and control upon the abuse of freedoms and privacies and everything that the centralized systems and central bank digital currencies will take away from us, which is why you have to give people voluntary opt-out of the financial system. So you need Bitcoin, you need DeFi, and applying the same rules to those is not going to take us in the right direction. It's going to completely violate the Constitution, and it's going to move America further and further away at a time when it's trying to compete with changing empires from the very same things that made America what it was.
The most decentralized governance and fair governance you can find is the market, period. I mean, there's no other way. And I think we have now increasingly the technology to kind of like decentralize those decision making, like basically asking the cryptosphere, hey, do you think there's something wrong here? Do you think we can like have more transparency? Yes, no. Do you think we should segregate the funds and then have them like constantly surveyed so that we can check them and not necessarily just trust your word? Yes, no. So there is mechanisms that will be put in place in the crypto world. What I'm afraid of is that this is actually a better system than what we have now in the traditional system. And if you go on to try to kill that because the bad actors, right, and then you try to go into the traditional system, which is actually worse and even more opaque, then I don't think we're making any progress here.
Yeah, and that's why you need both, because there will be moments when our industry, just like right now, completely fails, and there'll be decentralization failure. There'll be those things, and so if our industry gets too scammy, too crazy, and burns people too much, then there needs to be the opt out from this shit at the same time. So you need to have the two systems to keep each other honest, because you need more honest fiat currency and you need more honest decentralization. The two need to coexist, because at times you'll get a bit of a pendulum of failures.
I mean, it's creative destruction. Huh? We're not reinventing the world here. Huh? It's Schumpeter creative destruction. So I think it's a healthy thing. Like, the purge is the purge. And we've seen some, and I think this is another one of those. And then, in the end, the purge just lets you know which one of the players are actually acting appropriately, and then you build a track record.
We got a huge framing problem, guys, a huge framing problem, something we could address and actually do easily. Crypto is doing great. Crypto is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, we're back to the price of a few years ago. Fine. So is everything else. Everything else is back to a few years ago price too. Crypto is doing its job amazingly with near 100% uptime in the real cryptos. Mine's up 100% of the time. Ethereum's up nearly 100% of the time because it's upgraded the network, and Bitcoin's up about 100% of the time. Normal finance isn't. Crypto did not fail here. What failed is the trashy, garbage, middleman stuff that crypto solves. And it's a huge framing error that everyone has made, making it look like these centralized scumbags opposite of crypto stuff is somehow a failure of crypto. It's not. Crypto is doing its job awesome. Its price are back to a few years ago, and its price is still the best performing asset that's ever existed. Ethereum is still up 300,000%.
So
Bitcoin is still up
crypto, how much
6 million percent.
How much would you say in crypto is actually decentralized?
I think unless you're holding the native token of a chain or something that's extremely well audited, you're very likely to be exposing yourself to admin key risk or centralized counterparty risk. So for instance, if you use something that has a price oracle, some guy runs the oracle server, that ain't real DeFi. If you're using something with an upgradable contract with a proxy, that ain't real DeFi. Anyone can screw it anytime.
And what if
you're
you
doing
got
stuff
something
with DAOs?
What if you got something decentralized and most of it is staked on an exchange?
It depends on the risk profile of the exchange of what their fear is.
But if everyone puts their Ethereum, or a massive chunk of Ethereum, can't be asked to figure out how to stake, puts it on the exchange, those exchanges are regulated, do you think that's decentralized?
No.
That's a good point.
It's not. It's not decentralized. It's extra
and then
risk.
if someone launched a token on top of that, is that decentralized?
It depends on what the counterplay is once they execute the bad thing. So I invented a term called just-in-time security. And what it means is that if you're there's a lot of proof of stake networks that operate with 21 nodes. And then if, doors start getting kicked in, then you can change the number. And you're like,
Guys,
the feds are
fuck
kicking.
with
Who can change that?
One letter by one letter there.
Well, then you just the same way you upgrade any consensus network, the nodes just vote on it and they just run the new software. So like in Bitcoin, there's a BIP that they used for signaling what parts of a new upgrade they'll accept. So there's a whole system for signaling what upgrades you're okay with in Bitcoin. Ethereum has not a BIP system for it, but the guys that run. So for instance, you're trying to say Ethereum's dangerous, and I'm going to tell you that that's analogous to Bitcoin pools. So in a Bitcoin pool, if they start to be evil and get too much hash rate, you can remove your hash rate from that pool and reintroduce decentralization just in time. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but just-in-time security works for a lot of things. So for instance, what if the government starts doing SHA-256 mining and 51% attacking blocks are just mining only empty blocks? Then you can do proof of work change just in time. What if everyone sent their coins to Coinbase and Coinbase just starts censoring transactions? Then you fork the network, you remove Coinbase's coins because they were a bad actor, and you go ahead with a fork. These are all socially enforced networks, and any evil that tries to step in is removed by the social aspect.
Do you think?
You know, when
Do you think Ethereum was more likely to be decentralized under proof of work or proof of stake?
I would say proof of work, but I'm unsure how centralized that actually was. So I mean, it's
so Ethereum has probably gone less decentralized, and it's been a
probably
downgrade to the system.
Well, no, it's an upgrade because all people care about is mad gains, and as long as it's centralized enough, and no one's
but you're saying everyone needs to be using their own keys and.
No, but like, dude, if it gets bad, you just fork the network. They already did this once before, right? Like there used to be the real Ethereum is Ethereum Classic, but they decided not to let the quote unquote hacker get paid. Not that he really was a hacker,
Do you
but
think the ESG narrative might have contributed to centralizing Ethereum more and making it more easy to attack and control?
100%.
I think that it's going to flip Bitcoin within the next year and a half to 2 years, and then I think
we're gonna have the number one token is gonna all be on exchange, most likely to be all on exchanges.
Well, here's the good news, bro. I made a
asking
copy
for.
of that network, and maybe my guys are smarter and don't stick all their coins on exchanges. So
you could do a little DEX or something.